What's going on, Laker fans? Appreciate you guys tuning in. Lakers lose to the Los Angeles Clippers, 127-116, the final score tonight. Fortunately for the Lake Show, back another game below 500, one game below 500. So they're going to continue this. It sounds like they're going to continue this probably all season long, where they try to gain some momentum. I got to be honest, I wasn't expecting too much tonight because it was the Clippers and it was the Lakers without LeBron James. I don't think most Laker fans probably felt that way, but this wasn't too big of a shock or a surprise to me. So we got a lot to get into. So just give everybody an idea what we'll do for tonight's show. Talk about the actual game. I'll spend some time looking at the box score. D'Angelo Russell, another good game for D'Lo. Is anyone kind of changing their opinion on D'Angelo Russell because of his performance over the last 6 games? He's looking incredibly confident. I'm going to give the man his credit because he's been playing a lot better brand of basketball. We'll hit on D'Angelo Russell. Lakers without LeBron James. Every time they play without LeBron, they've played some really good teams without LeBron. They haven't won. I think they're 2-3 now without Bron. But something I noticed when Bron is not there, I'm not suggesting that the Lakers need to play without LeBron James, but I'll point out some things there. Clippers, we know they got a lot of talent. Does it matter what they do in the regular season? I got some NBA stories that I want to get into. I spent part of the day talking a little bit. I recorded something a little bit earlier today on Dave McMenamin's article about the 3 options that the Lakers have between now and February 8th. I'm not going to hit too much on it because I feel like I already did it. But if you guys got some questions on that, there was some comments on YouTube that I looked at a few of them. So I'll answer some of those questions as well. If you guys want to throw some comments in, feel free to throw any comment that you want out there. Feel free to do so. I'll try to do my best to get to it. If you have a super chat, I'll 100% get to it. Let's see. What else am I missing here? If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, would greatly appreciate that you guys do that. And thank you to Underdog Fantasy for being a partner here of the postgame show. By the way, I don't know who gave me the underdog predictions on the last one. Remember, I told you guys, I think it was Embiid and Wembanyama. Those were the 2 guys that I took. And I asked one of the people on the chat, I said, hey, you guys pick it for me. That's how I'm going to do it. He said lower on both of them. Embiid dropped 70. So I got to get somebody else to help me out because Embiid dropped 70. We went lower on Embiid. We went lower on Wemby too, and he had 30+. Okay, Lakers lose 127-116, the final score. They got one more game left at home before they go on a 6-game road trip, and we'll get into what the Lakers' record is on the road. It's not good. So the Lakers obviously got a ton of work to do between now and these next couple of weeks or so. Let me just kind of give my overall thoughts on the game. I got to be honest. I like the Lakers' battle tonight. I know it's a loss, and I know there's probably a lot of Laker fans that are going to say, well, they lost the game. What exactly did you like? I'll tell you what I liked. Bron didn't play in this game. There was never a point where I thought the Lakers gave up. It was absurd in the first half how many points the Lakers what they give up 77 points in the first half. So clearly no defense from the Lakers. They gave up 35 points in the first quarter and 42 points in the second quarter. But the Clippers just kind of let them hang around. And a lot of that was hustle plays. A lot of that was battling. A lot of that was hitting the glass on offensive rebounds. A lot of that was hitting timely shots. So I wasn't overly disappointed with how the Lakers played this game. I wasn't. Look, clearly if you give up 127 points, you're going to lose the game. The last matchup they played the Clippers, they gave up 103. I thought if they can give up around 110-ish, they got a legitimate chance to win this game. Well, they didn't. And the Clippers just shot such a ridiculous percentage. How about this from the Clippers? 59% from the field and 52% from the three-point line. There were some possessions where it would be, I'll use Austin Reeves as an example because that's the one that I'm thinking of. Austin Reeves with a hand in somebody's face, and Kawhi still hits the shot like he's not even there, or a timely three from James Harden where it was a backbreaker, or Russell Westbrook going 3 for 3 from the three-point line and 6 of 11 from the field. Harden hit 50% of his threes. Terrence Mann hit 50% of his threes. Amir Coffey hit all 3 of his threes, shot 100% from the three-point line. Amir Coffey and Russell Westbrook got 6 for 6 from the three-point line. The problem with the Lakers tonight, they just couldn't get stops. They gave up, like I mentioned, 77 points in the first half. In the second half, they gave up 50. So they were much better on the defensive side in the second half. But every time the Clippers needed a timely bucket, they got it. I mean, Lakers got the game. They got it to 108-106. They got it to 110-108. And then I think somebody hit a three from the Clippers, got it 113-108. D'Angelo Russell had an awful turnover at the worst time. Just kind of threw an outlet pass that I don't even know who the hell he was throwing it to. But the Clippers stole the ball, scored on the other end. All of a sudden it was 2, then it was 5, and then it was 7, and then before you knew it, it was 9-10 again. And this is late in the fourth quarter. Pretty much the game was a wrap. But I don't have this is one of those games. I'll give you a good example. The Brooklyn game, we all know how frustrated everybody was. The Lakers-Blazers game, we all know how frustrated everybody was because you were looking back at the Brooklyn game and saying, why couldn't you guys do this against Brooklyn? But tonight's game, I don't have the same feeling as I had in some of these other losses, right? It's Clippers are a good team. You don't have LeBron James. And it's not that they didn't battle. It's not that they didn't fight from start to finish. I'm watching here. Jared Vanderbilt was just talking to the media right now. Let's use him as a good example. Vando was everywhere tonight. I felt like he was crashing the glass. I felt like he was everywhere on defense. It was one of his better performances that I've seen from him, at least this season, because he's been so in and out of the lineup. 12 points, 9 rebounds, 3 steals, a block shot. He was everywhere. I want to give Vando some credit. AD did what he does, 26 and 12. The problem with AD really didn't have much of a presence in the fourth quarter there. But I'll go down the list. Let me kind of keep highlighting some people. Rui ended up with 11 points, 5 of 8 from the field. Austin Reeves still struggling. Reeves can't get into a rhythm. I feel like his shooting is all over the place. 5 of 14 from the field, just 2 of 8 from the three-point line. Reeves got to start hitting these shots. For as much as criticism sometimes we give to D'Lo, Reeves has not been helping his case. At least it feels like these last couple of weeks or so, only 12 points for him. But it's really hard for me to harp on the defensive side, on the offensive side. Lakers just couldn't get stops. I mean, you put up 116 points. They had 6 guys scoring double figures. Cam Reddish almost got into double figures as well with 9. By the way, that ankle injury didn't look all that great. But so kind of take that entire combination right there. Lakers did not win or lose the game because they didn't have enough offense. They didn't win the game because they couldn't get enough stops. If a squad shoots almost 60% from the field and basically 50+% from the three-point line, scores 77 points in the first half, you're not winning that game. That's not how the NBA works. That's not how sports works. You're not going to win that game. Okay, I want to get into D'Angelo Russell, but let me take a quick look at some of these comments here real quick. Give me 2 seconds here. I know I started some of these, so let me look. The 500 saga continues. Lakers fought, but in a blink of an eye, our 2-point deficit turned to 11 points deficit. And that's what I was just kind of referring to. That's what I was talking about was specifically those couple of plays. 110, 108. You thought to yourself, hey, Lakers got a legitimate chance. I think it was D'Lo that hit a nice baseline fadeaway to pull the Lakers to within 2, but then a couple of turnovers. The turnovers, it's not just the turnovers, it's when you turn the ball over. It's the timely turnovers that I think sometimes kills a team. Trying to see how many turnovers Lakers had. 15 turnovers, that's a lot. 15 for the Clippers as well. So both teams were pretty sloppy on that side of it. I mentioned I like the effort. 13 offensive rebounds for the Lakers. That's what I was referring to. All right, let me get to a couple more comments here. Got to give it to them. They fought tonight. I'm with you there. I will say for me, and I think there's sometimes you guys have heard me on some of these post-game shows or you've heard me on, doing any of my radio shows or anything like that. There is a lot of times that I might bitch and complain because I don't feel like the effort is there. I don't feel like the guys are fighting. That's the worst type of complaining. If a team just loses because the other squad was better or somebody was injured, that I think you could live with a little bit more. All right, let's see what else we got here. All right, David. Looks like David's a Clipper fan here. David, what am I going to tell you? You won tonight. You know what I mean? I could give up. When the Lakers lose, I'm okay with admitting it. Now, I will say this, and I'm going to talk about the Clippers in a little bit here. I already got this banner here. We're going to do it later. Clippers talent. They got talent. Doesn't matter what they do in the regular season. I had a good conversation in the pregame show about that, so we'll get into that a little bit later. So we'll keep going on that front. Let me see a couple more of these comments. I want to get a few of these comments before I start getting into D'Angelo Russell. I'm starting to get frustrated with Rui. Add him to the trade package too. Hey, I've been saying this for a little bit. Rui's incredibly inconsistent. He got paid off what he did during the playoff run. He didn't get paid off of what he did for his entire career. And I'm a fan of Rui. Like I think he's got the right mindset. I'm a fan of his. I think he's got the perfect NBA body. His game's not perfect, but he certainly has a good skill set. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you got to be consistent. You got paid to be consistent. 500 forever. You might be right on that. All right, let's get into, I think, one that a lot of people want to get into. D'Lo hooping right now. Can't fault him. His trade value going up. Okay. Spend some time on D'Angelo Russell here. So D'Lo had 27 tonight, 27 and 10, plus 5 rebounds. He didn't shoot great, 9 of 21 from the field, but 4 of 10 from the three-point line. But I could live with that, and I'll tell you why I could live with that. D'Lo has had, this will be 6 games in a row for D'Angelo Russell where I feel like he's been effective, really effective for the Lakers. I feel his presence. And I know we've been talking about this more and more, and every game that D'Angelo Russell delivers, there's a little bit, at least for me, for the conversation. It's like, well, what changed? How come all of a sudden now D'Lo is doing what he's doing? Coming into tonight's game, he was averaging 27 points a game, 50-something% from the field, 53-something, 53.7%, 52.7%, something like that from the three-point line. D'Lo's been balling out. Well, why is this happening right now? I can't give you the exact answer, and I don't think I need to figure out what the answer is, but D'Angelo Russell looks like if he felt like, hey, I got one hand tied behind my back, I got to make sure that I'm appeasing Coach Darvin Ham, that I'm appeasing LeBron James, I'm appeasing Anthony Davis. I'm basically playing to make sure that all these guys are happy. I don't feel like he's doing that anymore. I feel like right now he's saying, look, I'm also a talented basketball player. I'm going to go out there, and if I'm going to go down, I'm going to go down swinging. And he looks like he's got the green light. He looks like his confidence level is completely different than I feel like it's been at previous times this year. It doesn't feel like he's getting in his head. He's just going out there and he's playing basketball, and he's letting his skills be his skills and living with the results, whether it's a successful game or it's a game that he falls flat on his face. I don't feel like he cares all that much about what the end result is. He's just going out there and saying, I'm going to go be the best version of myself. I give him credit for that. I do. Now, I think the bigger question here is, if you were somebody that thought, hey, D'Lo's got to go, are you changing your opinion on that a little bit? If D'Angelo Russell is playing like he has in these last 6 games, and you feel like the way he's playing could be something that's sustainable. And I'm sure the Lakers front office are asking them to say the same question, saying, wait a minute here. Are we going to get the D'Lo that is the D'Angelo Russell that I have no idea what he's going to be every single night? There's times I don't even feel his presence on the floor. Or are we going to get the D'Angelo Russell that's saying, when I'm on the floor, I'm going to do everything I can. I don't care who's on the floor with me. I'm going to play my game. And if I play my game, that's just the Lakers are just better off because I'm that good of a player. And I could go off for 25 or 30 any night. I could give you 8 to 10 to 12 assists any given night. Is what he's doing over these last 6 games, is that enough to start changing your opinion on whether D'Angelo Russell should be here after February 8th or not? I'll tell you what my hesitation is with D'Lo. My hesitation is, I think if he takes, the cuffs off and just basically says, I'm coming out every single night. I don't care. I'm going to go make it happen. D'Angelo Russell is not a selfish basketball player. I think he has the instincts where he wants to facilitate more than he wants to actually score. I think that's a natural point guard, kind of a little bit more of an old school point guard. But he also has the unique ability to where, he could go get his own as well. It's not the best example, but I'll give you an example of a point guard out there. I know he's been in the league for a while. He's a veteran. Mike Conley, he can go get you buckets, but Mike Conley has no problem getting 7, 8, 9, 10 assists a game. Mike Conley's, it's a little bit, he's not going to be the fastest guard in the NBA, but he can find a way to get his own shot, a little bit more unorthodox. Maybe it's not the best comp, but I see a little bit of that in D'Lo's game. Is D'Angelo Russell, is what he's doing over a 6-game stretch or what he's done so far where he's now becoming a lot more confident on the offensive end, he's being a lot more aggressive on the offensive end, does that change anybody's opinion for those who thought, hey, I think we got to shop D'Lo? I don't think that would change the Lakers' opinion. It doesn't fully change my opinion as well, but it's interesting. I've already said out there's certain players that I like to see on this Lakers roster, and if it takes D'Angelo Russell, then I'm okay with it. I think one thing that's always going to be in a Laker fan's head is, yeah, but do you remember D'Angelo Russell in the playoffs? I mean, they took this dude out of games. They took him out of the series. You couldn't even have him in the series against the Denver Nuggets. You couldn't rely on him. You had to immediately go to Dennis Schroeder to play a bulk of those minutes. So it doesn't change it for me yet, but listen, it's interesting. He's playing some good basketball right now. All right, let's read some of these comments here. Let's see what we got here. Okay, I got one comment here. I wasn't disappointed in the game because I didn't expect the Lakers to win without LeBron James. Let's find some specific D'Angelo Russell ones. D'Lo's been playing well, but with no LeBron, how is AD not shooting the most on the team by at least 5 shots? I don't disagree with that, but I'm going to go back to something that I said a little bit earlier. Ultimately, at the end of the day, Lakers did not lose this game because they needed more offense. They lost because they couldn't get any defensive stops. They couldn't. And I agree with you that there should never be a night that Anthony Davis is not shooting the most, especially if Bron's not there. D'Lo's fool's gold. He's going to make us keep him, then disappear in the playoffs again. I know there's a lot of Laker fans that feel that way. I absolutely know there's a lot of Laker fans that feel that way. You have to trade D'Lo because he will 100% opt out. I don't think he's going to opt out because I don't know what kind of money he's going to. Well, I mean, if he keeps balling out and there's another team, if there's a market for him, yes, he can opt out. But I don't know if you'd have told me 6 games ago, I don't think there were teams lining up outside to sign D'Angelo Russell. And I would have told you 6 games ago that I don't think D'Lo is going to be opting out. So unless he just goes on this crazy run and he gets attention of a lot of teams out there with cap space, maybe that would change everything. As if D'Lo's thinking like he's the only player on the court. Lakers need to move him immediately. Okay, so I think for a lot of Laker fans, it's not probably going to change their opinion, even though he's playing well. D'Lo plays well when Bron is out. D'Lo got to go. Packaging bags already. According to this chat, it doesn't matter for Laker fans what D'Lo's doing. They still want to see D'Angelo Russell on the road. Okay, let me get some of these super chats in. Drew V, your takes leave a lot to be desired. Thanks. Thank you, Drew V. I appreciate the super. Okay. And thank you for elaborating a little bit more this time. Let's get another one here. Astrohead. Vando is West Boxers. One amazing play, always followed by a frustrating one. In the end, unplayable. Here, let me tell you something about Jared Vanderbilt. If you guys want more on that AD stuff or the D'Angelo stuff, put it in. I'll get to it. Let me tell you about Vando. There's some times where, yes, offensively, the dude doesn't even want to look at the basket. They're almost scared to shoot a basket. When he pulls up for three, you're like, yeah, well, that's not good. But Vando's not supposed to be on the Lakers other than to play defense, grab those offensive rebounds, clean up after the glass. That's his job. So if there's a game that you want to complain about with Vando, I wouldn't do it tonight. Vando tonight, I thought, gave the Lakers extra possessions, still ended up with 12 points, had 9 rebounds. So for me, if there's a game to complain about with Jared Vanderbilt, trust me, there's other ones that you can complain about. I wouldn't do it tonight. I was a fan of Vando's game tonight, and I thought he gave the Lakers a lot more possessions, and I thought he did more good than he did bad. Kratos, if the Hawks want Reeves for Murray, do it. Reeves is a 6-man at best. Murray is a lead on both ends. Murray, D'Lo in our backcourt is enough. Let's stop acting like Reeves is superstar because of his contract. Kratos, number one, thank you for the super. Number two, let's spend a second on Austin Reeves. I don't know if you guys know who Oumyung is. Oumyung covers the NBA and the Clippers for ESPN. I had him on the pregame show, and there's a Clipper chat that I want to have in a little bit that I will. But when we were done with the pregame show, I saw him in the media room, and he said, so what's wrong with the Lakers? And immediately I started kind of going on a little rant. I'm like, look, their role players are not consistent. I feel like some of these guys have regressed. And, you know, Reeves is an interesting conversation because I think there's a lot of times we spend time on the other players. Reeves has not been good these last couple of weeks. He hasn't been. Reeves has moments, but you go look at, and I'm not telling you that Reeves is a bad basketball player. I'm just telling you that Reeves has definitely had moments where he struggled as well. And I feel like when Reeves struggles versus when D'Lo struggles, that volume is not as loud for Reeves as it is when something happens with D'Angelo Russell. The reason why I'm saying this, because I think, Kratos, you at least bring up a point, and I've said this before and I'll say it again. Anybody who says that Austin Reeves is untouchable, when I hear that, I get so frustrated. I'm like, what the hell are people talking? What do you mean Austin Reeves is not touchable? If you can go improve your roster and you feel like you're getting somebody that is he's an asset. He's somebody that you think you could be there for a couple of years and is just a better overall player and a better overall athlete. Why would Austin Reeves be untouchable? I don't believe anybody who says that. If the front office came out tomorrow and said Austin Reeves is untouchable, I wouldn't believe him because it's just, I get the story. Everyone's a fan of Austin Reeves. Undrafted player, the whole thing. I mean, the guy wants to be a Los Angeles Laker, wants to succeed for the Lakers, but let's stop with the guy is untouchable or untradeable or whatever the terms that have been out there. Yeah, he hasn't been that good lately. I mean, I'll go back to tonight's. I already pointed out 5 of 14 is a terrible stat line. 2 of 8 from the 3-point line is a terrible stat line. It's not a good stat line. He didn't have a good game today. So, of all these players out here, I said this today before the game. I talked about how important it was going to be for D'Lo, Rui, and Austin Reeves to have great games tonight. D'Lo was the only one that had a great game tonight. Austin Reeves and Rui didn't have a terrible game. He was 5 of 8, but just, not very impactful. Only 3 rebounds. Barely got to double digits, 11 points. So, Kratos, I appreciate the super there. All right. Let's see what we got here. Adrian, Does a D'Lo trade really move the needle, though? Adrian, I appreciate the super. So let me ask you this question. I there's no way of telling. If they got DeJounte Murray tomorrow, does it mean that the Lakers, the Western Conference runs through the Lakers? Of course it doesn't. But I feel like I already know what this team is. And they're 45 games in and they're a game below 500, and that's with LeBron and Anthony Davis playing almost all the games. Bron's missed 5 games. AD's missed 2 games. Austin Reeves hasn't missed a game, and I want to say D'Lo's missed 4 games. Does moving D'Lo really move the needle? I'm not 100% sure. But if they're assets that you think are good for short-term and long-term, I think it's worth the conversation. I think it's worth whatever risk is out there. Depends on the player, right? Depends on the player. Okay. Couple more comments here. Let me actually get this in here real quick. So you guys know this, and I'm going to ask for your help on this, and I'm going to show it to you. Underdog Fantasy, proud partner. You guys know that of this YouTube channel. They're going to match your deposit up to $100. So if you sign up today and you use my code HoopsLA, let me get the code up here. Use the code HoopsLA, then they will match up to $100. You put $50 in, they'll match it. You'll have $100. You put $100 in, they'll match it. You'll have $200 to play with. It's fun. It really is. I mean, I had my picks in tonight. So I'm going to ask you guys here real quick. I do pick'em, I do pregame, I do NBA. Sign up if you guys do play daily fantasy sports. It's fun to get in on the action. And please use that code HoopsLA, and then you could take advantage of this, the matching of your first deposit up to $100. I'm going to ask you guys, Kevin Durant, 29.5 points, higher or lower? Luka, 33.5 points, higher or lower? It's Dallas, Phoenix tomorrow. Kevin Durant, 29.5 points. Luka, 33.5 points, higher or lower? I'm just going to get somebody's picks, and I'm going to take them. Here's the problem with the last time I did this. I took your guys' picks, and I forgot who the guy was. He said Embiid lower. He said Wemby lower. Embiid dropped 70. One didn't win. That one didn't win. Okay. Let me say something here real quick about the Clippers. I'm going to go back to the Lakers here. Real quick on the Clippers. I almost don't think it matters what this team does in the regular season. And why should it matter? And the reason why I'm bringing this up is we were talking about this in the pregame show. Clippers are now 31-14. No, 28-14. They're a game and a half. Game and a half? Wow. Okay. Thunder, Timberwolves, and the Denver Nuggets all are tied for the top spot in the Western Conference. Clippers are a game and a half back. How about the Oklahoma City Thunder at 30-13, and the Minnesota Timberwolves are tied for the best record in the West, and then the Denver Nuggets are 31-14. So I guess percentage-wise, it's OKC and Minnesota, and then it's the Denver Nuggets. Clippers are right there, game and a half. Since they traded for James Harden, and then traded for James Harden, they started out 0-5 once Harden came. Now they're 25-7. They got the best record in the NBA since after they traded James Harden. NBA.com does the power rankings. They got the Clippers at number 2. Look, they got a squad. If you're a Laker fan out there and you could admit what a team's got a squad, Paul George, Kawhi, Harden, Terrence Mann, Westbrook, Norman Powell might be one of the most underrated players in the NBA. That dude's an absolute baller as well. Even guys like Amir Coffey had a nice night tonight for them. They don't even play PJ Tucker, Bones Highland. They didn't even play these guys. They don't have space for them. Ivica Zubac will eventually come back. But for the Clippers, as talented as they are, I don't think it matters what they do. It literally means nothing in the regular season. That franchise is known for not winning, for choking, for not being able to get to the finals, for, some of the circumstances which you got no control over. Sometimes it's just bad luck, injuries at the wrong time. So whatever the Clippers end up doing, I know they got talent. I think they're a beatable team. I think they're very talented, but I think there's only one basketball. So I think at times, give me a team that can play defense, that could get stops. They're kind of all about offense, less about defense. They're top 15, I think, in defensive rating, but they're top 5 in offense. Definitely a beatable team, but doesn't really matter what they do in the regular season. Come playoff time, it's going to basically be, all right, you guys got to the finals or you didn't. If they didn't get to the finals, people are just going to say, well, it's the same old Clippers again. So the talent is there, no question about it, but I think you guys know where I'm coming from in regards to everything else. All right, let's see what we got here. Those refs were biased tonight. I'm not really usually a ref guy. I don't really point at that. So nobody is beating the Nuggets healthy. You might be right on that one. I mean, let's be honest with each other. That's the class of the West. There was a game last week. It was Denver. No, yeah, it was Denver at Boston. And I want to say Denver handed Boston their first home loss. They might have been 20-0, something along those lines. And I told Michael and John, we're doing the pregame show, Michael Thompson, John Ireland, and they had the game on, and we just on the end, like, look, this could be the NBA Finals. Nobody would be shocked or surprised, right? Boston's got the best record in the East. Denver's got the best record in the Western Conference. Both of those teams, they're that nobody's beating the Nuggets. We'll see. And if they are healthy, then I think everybody's chasing them. All right, let's see a couple more of these comments here. And then there's a few things I want to do. Back to D'Angelo Russell. D'Lo's talent's never been questioned. His inconsistencies are what's questioned. Fair. I don't argue that. And again, D'Lo can keep balling out, and then come playoff time, people are going to say, well, what's he going to do in the playoffs? And it's going to be up to him to kind of change that narrative of what they had in that last playoff run. But the dude still is. He's still balling out. I'm giving the man credit for what he has been doing. Definitely giving him credit for what he has been doing. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay, I got a couple other things I'm going to get into. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Lakers without LeBron. I know that's an interesting topic. People are going to say, the hell are you talking about? Lakers without LeBron. I'm not suggesting anything, but what I'm saying is that they've played some games without LeBron James, and in the games they've played without Bron, man, I feel like, and I think this is natural. Think about the years where Kobe was on a team, and it's like, all right, how many guys just look for Kobe to bail the team out? Or they look at Kobe, and LeBron's another perfect example of it. Okay, well, Bron's going to make the decision, or give Bron the ball, and we'll just get the hell out of the way. Well, when Bron's not on the floor, Lakers have had some interesting games. I'm trying to think off the top of my head, what are the games that they've played without Bron? I know they played against Minnesota without LeBron, and that was a close game. There was another game recently that they played. Wasn't the Pelicans game? Was it at Utah? It might have been at Utah, where they hung with the Utah Jazz. And here's another game against the Clippers. I feel like the Lakers, and I'm not trying to make an argument here. Lakers are going to go win games without LeBron James, but you can tell when LeBron's not there, all of a sudden there is this, hey, let's make the extra pass. There is this, hey, we don't have a exit valve. It's like a fire alarm goes off, and it's like, well, give the ball to LeBron and he'll figure it out. And I know there's probably no way to pretend that LeBron is not there in games that LeBron is there, but damn, that ball movement, or we got to work as a unit, because if we don't work as a unit, we got no shot in this game. That's refreshing to see. Now they just got to figure out when Bron's there, because ultimately, at the end of the day, obviously LeBron's going to be in these games. It's just a matter of, um, being more effective when he's out on the floor. Okay, couple more here, and then I got basically two quick things I'm going to get to, and we're going to call it a day. If they played like that with Bron on the court, they'd be playoff worthy. It's a weird thing. Like I don't think people understand what I'm trying to refer to, but you have no choice but to move the ball. You have no choice but to share the ball. You have no choice but to play, to kind of do these little things. Because if you don't, you're going to get blown out of the out of the water here. Fans don't appreciate LeBron enough. He's still a top 10 player in the league easily. Leon, if you're taking what I just said, that I don't appreciate LeBron, then I did not explain it properly. Let's see what else we got here. Lakers got to find offense to help LeBron AD. The role players have been underwhelming at times. Well, D'Lo, listen, D'Lo unlocks something that the Lakers don't have. When D'Angelo Russell isn't out there doing his thing, when he's not out there doing his thing and being aggressive and trying to go get buckets and just kind of playing freely, it does make it that you do put that much more pressure on LeBron and Anthony Davis every night, where you basically have to play perfect basketball. If D'Lo that's a real threat, if D'Angelo Russell's a real threat night in and night out on a consistent basis, and teams got to respect his game, his driving ability, his facilitating, his three-point shooting, that does change the dynamic of the team. Okay. Let me get into... Today was a weird day in the NBA. By the way, D'Angelo Russell, his last 6 games now, 27 points, 7 assists, 51% from 3, 54% from the field. Those are incredible numbers, really good numbers. His numbers actually came down a little bit after today's game because of his shooting percentage, but still had 10 assists and 5 rebounds. Interesting day today in the NBA. The hell happened today in the NBA? You got... type it in here real quick because I'll grab both of them. So you had the Adrian Griffin news that went down out of nowhere. And I'm not telling you that there might not have been something, and I'm not telling you that it's just very odd to see a coach who's 30-13 in the Eastern Conference get fired. And I didn't know what the rumblings were. I mean, at least for me, they're 43 games in. This is the first time that he's ever been the coach. He's got the second best record in the Eastern Conference, and he got fired. So that was kind of crazy to see that go down earlier today. It sounds like Doc Rivers is going to be the next head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks. So that's kind of again, I'm going to go back to it, kind of a random thing that happened today. So we'll see what happens with the Milwaukee Bucks. I think that one clearly says that the Stars probably were not happy with the direction of Adrian Griffin, and that's why it happened. A little bit earlier as well, Terry Rozier gets moved to the Miami Heat. So that happened. The Hornets are 10-31 on the season. Their last win they just got was against Karl-Anthony Towns and the Minnesota Timberwolves after Karl-Anthony Towns dropped 62. But Terry Rozier going to the Miami Heat, Kyle Lowry going to the Hornets, and instantly, whatever move that the Miami Heat make, you're like, okay, well, that was a good move because they're the Miami Heat, and you feel like they just know what the heck they're doing. Could that have some effects on the Los Angeles Lakers? Maybe it could. You know, I know we're looking at the markets right now, and the article that came out a little bit earlier today from Dave McMenamin had all these different tiers of options of what the Lakers can do, but it also listed out a ton of players. Look at all the players that was in the article. Obviously, we know the Zach LaVine, DeJounte Murray stuff, but some of the smaller moves that could potentially happen. It included Colin Sexton, Tyus Jones, Dennis Schroeder, Bruce Brown, Andre Drummond. There's a lot of players that were rumored. So there was a trade that goes down in the NBA today. There's a coach that gets fired and a coach that's with a team that was, obviously doing a good job. At least I know their goal is to just win an NBA championship, but it's not like the Bucks were hovering around 500. And then there's all the rumors that are continuing to swirl around the Lakers. So busy day in the NBA, certainly a lot going on, and I think we always find it very interesting. Okay, I got my picks. I'm going to submit my picks here. Underdog Fantasy. I'm going to go. I'll go lower on KD. I lost KD. I'll go lower on KD. I'll go higher on Luka. Those will be my picks. All right, that's what we got going on. By the way, put 20, pay 60. Submit my picks. All done. I appreciate your guys' feedback and help on that. Okay, next game for the Lakers. They got the Chicago Bulls coming up. Another one of those, you got to have it. Another one of those games where Lakers are about to go on a road trip here where they're going to play 6 games on the road. What's the Lakers' record on the road? I'll tell you exactly what it is. It's not a good sign that they're going on the road. They're 6-15 away from Crypto.com Arena. So the problem, Laker fans, is January was supposed to be the month that the Lakers caught up. Well, at best now they could do, if they beat the Chicago Bulls, they'll be 6-6 through the first 12 games of January, and then they go out on the road. So if they beat Chicago coming up on Thursday, all they'll have done is just hover at 500 in the month of January. After that, it's Golden State, it's Houston, it's Atlanta, it's Boston, New York, and Charlotte. A couple of those seems like, hey, those could be definitely wins for the Lakers, but why would we give the Lakers the benefit of the doubt? I'm definitely not going to do that. I don't think there's a reason to do it. But 6-6, that's if they beat the Chicago Bulls. Some info on the Bulls, they're 21-24. And believe it or not, Chicago Bulls, they're not playing terrible basketball right now. They lost to Phoenix yesterday by 2. They had a big lead, kind of choked that one away. Beat Memphis and Toronto before that. Lost to Cleveland, beat San Antonio, have wins against Houston, a couple against the Charlotte Hornets. Bulls aren't playing terrible. If you guys remember, they beat the Lakers back in Chicago, 124-108. That was sometime in December. So they did that without Zach LaVine. It'll be an interesting game because you got all the Zach LaVine chatter and all that stuff with Zach LaVine. It's been going on for a couple of months, and now he's going to come to LA. So I think that part is a little bit interesting. But for the Lakers, to be honest with you, all they got to do is just try to win a game and get ready for that road trip. So we'll see if the Lakers are able to do it. Lake Show, appreciate it. Thank you for hanging out. Got a solid 40 minutes in. Appreciate all the chat. A lot of people on the chat today. So thank you for being so active on that. Whether you're watching this live or you eventually watch it recorded, always appreciate you guys doing it. Please subscribe to the channel. I'll get back with you guys Thursday after the Lakers take on the Chicago Bulls. Hope you guys have a great rest of your night, and thank you for being a part of the show.